Hello, my darlings. My earrings are trying to steal the show today, and that is fine with me. We are doing it! This might have to be in several takes because I anticipate this taking a really long time, but today we are going to be rounding up the best of 2018. I feel like my unpopular opinions tag was a lot of just things that I was disappointed by this year, and I am really excited to round up how difficult it is to decide on winners because there have been so many fantastic products that I've tried this year. So we're going to round up foundations, concealers, powders, lip products, my videos. We're going to take a look back at the year that just happened. It has been crazy. I was just scrolling through my personal video feed of everything that I've done this year, and it feels like it's been 5 years. Just the amount of content and the amount of growth that has happened on this channel, and it is all because of you guys, and I am so proud of what we've built so far. I can't wait to head into 2019 kind of all systems firing. So first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for being not just, a viewer or a commenter, but actually being a contributing part of the ideas and the creative direction of my channel. I feel like I am so lucky to have such an engaged audience at such a relatively small amount of subscribers. 10,000 people is a city, you guys. We are the size of my husband's hometown. I am so humbled by that. It is so unbelievable. So thank you guys so much. We have, up until the actual moment of filming right now, I have put out 214 videos that are still live on my channel, I believe, this year so far. Redonkulous. But what you all came here for, and what I'm actually excited to round up, because I'm really excited to kind of put a nice neat bow on 2018, because we are moving into more clean beauty in 2019. We're going clean in 2019 kind of thing. That's the objective of my channel. And so a lot of these products aren't necessarily in that category, and so it is nice for me to kind of give one nice roundup, and then we can sort of put those in 2018 and move on. So let's start with foundations, you guys. I've broken it down into several, I have notes, several categories. We have light, medium, buildable, CC cream, full. And then there is, I want to do kind of a best of the best category for each category if I feel like it's warranted. So let's start with light coverage. The big guys were probably, the reformulated Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint, the Josie Maran Vibrancy Argan Oil Foundation Fluid, and the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. When we say light coverage here, you guys, I'm talking about light coverage. No powder for the most part, a suggestion of foundation, which is not everybody's thing, but if it is your thing, you know how important it is. And honestly, guys, this is the one that takes the day. The Kosas Tinted Face Oil is so beautiful. It's so lightweight. It actually has just the right amount of coverage. It's a Goldilocks amount of coverage between the Josie Maran, which has a good bit of coverage, but it's a little bit too heavy and oily on the skin. It just moves around and is kind of uncomfortable, versus the Glossier, which is gloss, 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 and not a lot more, even with the reformulation. It does have more wear time. It is really beautiful, but I just found that the Kosas worked better with my skin. I feel like it's just very forgiving, and it doesn't make me look as balmy over the course of the day. If you are a balmy girl, go with this, but I don't think that I need this. In fact, I should probably do a giveaway on this. Yeah, message me. Moving right along, medium coverage. Guys, this is my thing. This is my niche. I love a medium to buildable. So, we have everything from the It Cosmetics CC Plus, the Kojin Dough Aqua Foundation, which is $67. We have the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder, which is honestly kind of a close second to the one that I ended up choosing. We've got the Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. We have, oh my gosh, there are so many that were like this that I so gravitate towards this particular buildable, dewy, some coverage finish that just behaves like skin, but as it wears, it doesn't embarrass you. You guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while, that's very familiar vernacular to you. I say that all the time. If I wear a skin finish foundation and it wears off, it doesn't make me look like an idiot because it's just my skin coming through. There's no big texture difference. You guys, I'm gonna shock you and maybe disappoint you here, but the winner of all of these this year is the Becca Skin Love. I know, it's a curveball. Not everybody liked this foundation. You guys, every time I wear this foundation, not only can a bad photo not be taken of me, like anytime I walk into a room, I just catch the good light, but I get compliments on my channel, in person, when I'm wearing this foundation. I have it in the shade Shell. I think that their whole line leans a little bit yellow, so just keep that in mind. I would definitely recommend going into Ulta and actually getting shade matched on this because they have a huge spectrum of like pale shades and not so much on the deep shades, and I think that they could really work on that. It's nowhere near as bad as the It Cosmetics though. That is one thing I gotta call It Cosmetics out on. I do love their Bye Bye foundation. I love their CC+. That is why they only get kind of an honorable mention, is because their shade range doesn't even match me. I can't find the right shade in their foundations, and like I am like mainstream white girl. I mean, I understand that that's a privilege, but if you can't accommodate me, I doubt you're accommodating the rest of society. So yes, the Becca Skin Love is absolutely gorgeous, and I do pretty much love all Becca products that I have tried, especially this year. I will say that the Be a Light palette was completely lost on me. Like I don't understand why anyone would need that many highlighters in a palette. Like, I love highlight, but it was too much for me. I ended up returning it. But all of their like pan highlighters, their shimmering skin perfectors, I would say that the one, I didn't really like their new powder, the Spotlight powder. It was like really orange. But I loved their Hydro Mist powder. I loved their freaking Volcano Goddess eyeshadow palette. I think that Becca is just kind of killing it. I know that they are not considered necessarily like, you know, clean at Sephora, but I know that they make a conscious effort. Their ingredients are really strong, and this is definitely like worth a try if you are interested in those beautiful skin finish foundations that just wear so like gently and flawlessly. This is one of the most lightweight foundations I've ever put on my face, and it really stole the show this year. It was so unexpected. It was like an underdog, but it was so beautiful. I love it so much. Okay, so in terms of like buildable to full coverage, we have the like Lawless Woke Up Like This. We have the Natasha Denona. These are going to be like the ones that you can get full coverage out of, but they aren't necessarily like a shellacking, not like a, you know, bring it all down to a base and start from scratch kind of thing. And I will say that the winner, absolutely, and I know it's not just because it's top of mind. Like I could totally see somebody saying like, well, Kackie, it's top of mind, so obviously it's your favorite. You guys, this foundation from Curewise is the best. It is so good. Like in person, people are like, your skin looks incredible. It wears so long. I flew in it. I pretty much only wore this when I've been like traveling, when I went on a Thrive trip and everything like that. And you know what altitude does. You know what being on an airplane does. You know what travel does. And my skin did not look worse for the wear because this foundation is so nourishing and so hydrating and so long wearing. I found that like that was probably the thing that set it apart from so many other things. I do like really love the Natasha Denona. I think it's really beautiful, but it's not as long wearing. This just, it takes the punishment over the course of the day, and it just absolutely stays with you. It has incredible fidelity, and it is very expensive. With the packaging, it's $68. Just the pan is $40. But I have already put such a dent in it because it is like an instant holy grail. It is heavy rotation. It is absolutely one of the best foundations that I have ever worn. And it just is really hard to compare it to anything else because you can use this as a concealer, just like a spot concealer, or you can use it over your whole face. It has such flexible coverage, it almost belongs in a category on its own. And I want to continue trying some more Curewise products because this is just like, it really blew my mind. I had to mention it. I think I've mentioned it in every video since I've tried it. I have tried a lot of full coverage foundations this year, and I have really disliked most of them. I have tried drugstore ones. I've tried like the BH Cosmetics. I tried the new Revolution one that's got the big doe foot. In fact, I have them. I was going to give them away, and then I realized they're not in a pump, and so like I just can't do that. That's germy and gross. I have tried, Fenty Pro Filter. I tried the horrible Il Maquillage. I tried the Jouer Essential, like, you know, super high coverage that everybody loves. And I liked just pretty much none of them. Full coverage, I would say that the biggest contenders are the camera stick from Luscious and the Bye Bye foundation from It Cosmetics. And like I said, It Cosmetics, even Fair Light, it's just a little bit too yellow, too orange for me, and the next lightest one is too pink. So I just can't give it to It Cosmetics because their shade range just doesn't get there for me. It always looks too kind of like orange. You guys, this is such a home run. I wore this, you guys know, I wore the Luscious camera stick on my wedding day. This is a cruelty-free, paraben-free, sulfate-free, everything-free, vegan, Pakistani-originated brand called Luscious Cosmetics, if you are unfamiliar. I discovered them through, I don't know, like Instagram or something. This claimed to be a foundation that would withstand damn near anything. Pretty much all climate conditions. And it just makes for this like bulletproof face of makeup. And it is so, it glides on so incredibly smoothly, but it has the most full coverage of anything that I have ever used. And if you are going to an event, you are going to be photographed. That's the reason that it's called the, it's called the camera stick, is because it is the ultimate like photographable full coverage foundation. It puts a perfect satin skin finish on your skin without being over drying. It stays really flexible with your face, which also the It Cosmetics Bye Bye foundation does too. It has an amazing kind of flexibility to it. This, you powder it down and you have this perfect clean canvas. Like if you've got acne and you need to cover it today, like right now, I'm not going to say that this is going to be like a skincare based makeup for you, okay? Like don't get it twisted. This is not going to have a bunch of like skin clearing benefits to it the way a lot of other foundations that are a little bit lighter weight and things like that. That's not the angle that they're coming from here. But you guys, highest performance foundation I have ever used. Like nothing beats this in terms of wear time, photographability, flawless finish, and it's just so easy to wear. It's so easy to apply. It's like an actual like eraser. It's crazy. So yeah, this is really like nothing really is again in the category with this. Even though I mentioned the It Cosmetics, like nothing belongs in a category with this because I just have not, in all the full coverage foundations that I've tried this year, nothing even comes close to this. And I would do kind of a best of the best, but I really feel like the Chiar-Wise, like I said, it belongs in its own category because it just is the best of the best. Like it's my favorite foundation that I found this year, which sucks because I just have this proclivity towards the most expensive things, and I apologize for that, but I shouldn't apologize for that. You really get what you're paying for. If you are an RMS girl, try Chiar-Wise. I'm telling you, it really is. It's like the low heat, like gorgeous ingredients, bioactive, all of that stuff. But I think that it outperforms RMS. All right, let's talk about powder because I have tried a lot of powders this year. I tried the Becca Hydro Mist, which was my favorite for a long time, mainly because it reminded me of the Prescriptives magic powder from back in the day, the way that it kind of feels like water on your skin. It wears really snatched. I did a side-by-side of the Wowder versus the Becca Hydro Mist, and the Becca Hydro Mist kind of won with flying colors because it's just so snatched. This belongs with the Unpowder. So this is the Wowder, this is the RMS Unpowder. In terms of like dewy finish, things that are going to give you like non-makeup look, that is what these are for. And if you are actually, like, you should be informed. So RMS is going to give you more of a true mattified coating of makeup. The performance of this product is contingent entirely upon the moisture of the makeup underneath it. RMS actual makeup, their concealer products, like they're not super dewy. They're not very wet or oily on the skin. And so when you use the RMS Unpowder with the Uncover Up, you don't get this weird kind of like heavy, powdery, mattified look. However, I used this on top of Well People, which is a much heavier, oilier, dewier foundation, and I ended up with a very dry, very unnatural looking face of makeup. That said, people are always asking me, they're like, oh, Kackie, you know, which one should I do? Like the Thrive or the Wowder? And I want to just go ahead and put it on the record here for everybody watching. They are completely different products, okay? These are my top 2 of the year, okay? The Thrive Cosmetics Filtered Effects Soft Focus HD Setting Powder and the Glossier Powder. I have it in light medium. These are my top 2 and for completely different purposes. So, the powder is a powder that will set your makeup without looking mattified. So, if you like dewy skin and you want to wear those kinds of dewy finish foundations, but you want a little more wear time, or you are a girl who is a little more prone to your skin getting oily over the course of the day, then this is the powder for you. It's not going to make your makeup look dry. It's not going to make it look set necessarily. It's just going to kind of like add this interesting skin finish to it. I encourage you guys to check out, I have some, oh god, I mean, it's going to be a link factory underneath this video because I'm going to link all the products that I mentioned, probably all the videos that I mentioned. So yeah, but I've done a couple of videos on powder, and you guys can kind of see in my like up closes that it just doesn't behave like anything else. It's really hard to describe, and it's very, very different from the Filtered Effects powder from Thrive. So this, what is stuck to my face? God, it wouldn't be a Kackie Reviews Beauty video if I didn't have cat hair stuck to my face. So I've been using the crap out of this ever since it launched. I was given this when I went to the Thrive event in July, and it has, you know, come out since then, and it was released alongside, where is she? This lovely lady. And I'll just go ahead and give you guys a forecast. Thrive is coming out with a new blush brush that's going to be kind of softer and more fluffy than the ones that they have currently. Because I love those brushes, but they are much better for cream products. I think they're great for like cream blush and cream foundation, not so much for blush. This is the best powder brush ever. I use it all the time. Carissa, I always quote her, she said she got really excited when we were at that first event where she was like, do you know how much it costs to make that brush? I don't even care. It's amazing. And it's true. It really behaves like natural, like animal hair, but it's completely vegan. It's an insane brush. It is, you know, there's a reason that it keeps selling out. Come on. Back to the powder though. This is an ultimate mattifying powder, you guys. Like if you're a powder girl, you want to look snatched, wore this on my wedding day, like this is, and I'm not saying it's like makeup, but it does add coverage. If you are wearing a medium to buildable foundation, if you add this on top, or if you mix it in, it's going to give you more coverage, which is not the same as like the Hydra Mist. The Hydra Mist snatches everything, but it goes completely translucent. This is going to add coverage. However, the big differentiator here, guys, is that you can use this on any skin tone. It's not going to give you any HD flashback. It's not going to do the crazy baked nonsense that you see on so many just like unfortunate like flashback situations that I've been a victim of myself. I have seen women with extreme, gorgeous, deep skin bake with this powder, and it totally, like, it adds coverage, but it doesn't add white. It doesn't add a pigment to the skin. It is crazy stuff, and it is chock full of skincare ingredients. If you guys didn't watch my most recent like face fails and finds, I talked about this with Carissa too. I was like, so the overnight sensation mask is a little bit tacky, and if you really want to like get it out of your way and maybe not have cat hair stuck to your face all night, set it with the powder, because this powder has so much. I think it's got hyaluronic acid in it, it's got vitamin C in it, it's got all kinds of amazing stuff in it that's like anti-aging and just good for your skin. It's like better for your skin than not wearing it, essentially. You can set your mask and wear it overnight, and there's no pigment to it. It's not gonna like rub off on your pillow and look gross or something. And you can actually sleep in this powder. I do it all the time. This is such a winner. And I mean, if I can just kind of harp on the whole Thrive thing here, I found Thrive this year. Thrive found me this year. It has been such an amazing, not just partnership, but endorsement for my channel, just because I feel like they stand for something that I can kind of aspire to. They have such amazing standards for their giving and their purpose, and also for the quality of their products, that, you know, at the beginning of this year, some of you guys commented, you're like, I don't understand why anyone would need to like test on animals, you know, why can't everybody be a cruelty-free channel, blah, blah, blah. And I, at the time, was like, I'm gonna push back against that because I know that like the police will come for you. If you start labeling yourself, there are label police on the internet that will come for you. I realized that as soon as I sort of moved into like the clean beauty arena and we all started talking about it and everybody started kind of churning on all these ideas about what does this mean, whatever, that I don't have to be perfect in order to have really, really good intentions. And that once I said I'm going to move towards clean beauty, cruelty-free became something that was very easy. It's like when you go vegan, if you ever like dial it back and like go vegetarian for a while, you're like, man, being vegetarian is so easy. That's how I feel about cruelty-free. Like I'm uncompromising at this point on cruelty-free because, you know, clean beauty is actually just such like a tighter kind of constraint. And so I do love that we're talking about it now on my channel. And the reason that I felt motivated to, I mean, there were many reasons, mostly you guys, but one of the reasons that I felt empowered enough to make those kinds of like positive steps on my channel and differentiate myself. It's kind of scary to differentiate yourself. To differentiate myself in that way on my channel was mainly because of spending time with Carissa and with the Thrive team, because you just see what's possible. You see what happens when you raise your standards. And I raised my standards for my channel, and I've only seen good, beneficial things come from it. And I get a lot of response from you guys too about how, you know, we just are raising our standards for what we expect from makeup. And yeah, I really have Thrive to thank for that. Those are the powders. I think I've been filming for almost 30 minutes already, so awesome. Let's talk about concealers. So we have a couple of categories of concealer. We have like illuminating concealers that are like great for the under eye but not necessarily good for coverage. We have the kind of light coverage like camouflagey concealers, and then we have our full coverage makeup-y concealers. So let's start with illuminating. I have a handful of them here, and I am testing Well People right now, and honestly, I think it just is gonna have to go into next year, like taxes or something. Like, I don't know yet. It's really beautiful though, but I have tried a lot of concealers this year, and the two big standouts were the Wander Beauty and the Revolution Conceal and Define. My big beef with Wander, you guys, is they're so expensive. I think you're really paying mostly for packaging with Wander. They're beautiful products, they really are, but they shouldn't be that expensive. Like, I do draw a line somewhere. Like, they don't outperform the other things that I have enough to justify the price. And if we're talking about price, guys, I've been through 3 of these this year. This is the Revolution Conceal and Define. I have it in the shade C2. I've also used C1. They have an enormous spectrum of shades. And, you know, Revolution has not really knocked my socks off in a lot of areas this year, and I have given them a lot of chances, a lot of opportunities. But this has been the winner. I mean, it has been the ultimate, like, under-eye illuminator that gives me enough coverage and enough brightening without creasing or getting crepey or getting gross or getting heavy underneath my eyes. This is so personal, you guys. Obviously, all of these are just my own opinions. I definitely know of people who say that this goes crepey underneath their eyes, or that it's like too like highlighty or too whatever. We all have weird, different chemistry in our skin. This works with the chemistry of my skin because my under eyes really like to get kind of wrinkly and crepey, and I feel like this does a really good job of staying hydrated, which is really nice because it's surprising because the foundation that corresponds to this, the Conceal and Define foundation, is so like suck you dry, like matte. This is just a very different product, and I don't necessarily recommend this, like I said, for like covering blemishes. That's not really what it's for. It's almost like the pigment particles in the Revolution Conceal and Define are just smaller and more densely packed, and so you just get coverage with less makeup in a really beautiful kind of illuminated way. I know that Tati hates it, for example, like it's just not creamy enough for her. I've said this a lot, but I like my tear troughs and I don't bake, and so I do like to have kind of illumination on my eyes, which brings me to my honorable mention. Mom, hope you're not watching this because you got one of these under the tree for you. This is the Trish McEvoy Instant Eye Lift. This is not a concealer. This is a skincare item that also happens to be a color cancellation kind of primer for your under eyes. So it is peachy pink. As you can see, it does come in various shades, but the one that doesn't have a shade name on it is just kind of shade 1. And it is it's pink. But when you put it under your eyes, not only does it cancel out kind of the gray, lavender, sort of unflattering depth underneath the eyes, but it has like actual things in it, ingredients that lift. And you do, like my mother was like, what am I going to do about my under eyes? Like it was for my wedding and she didn't want to wear her glasses, but she has like puffy under eyes. She put this on and she was like, oh my God. And like, cause her under eye bag shrank and she was just like, what in the hell? And so she put it on her Christmas list. So I was like excited to buy that for her. It's $45. It's a lot of money, but this thing, like it'll last you forever. I actually got sent this by Supergreat to try, and it's just one of those brands that I would not have known about, like a cruelty-free brand that I wouldn't have known about because it has been around for a long time. And I just absolutely swear by this. It's gorgeous. I'm not wearing it right now because I'm doing a wear test, but typically I would wear it. In terms of your lightweight camouflagey concealers, I might upset a couple of people here because these are probably the main two that we tried this year. The Glossier, which is like kind of a mainstay for me, and the RMS Uncover Up. So the whole thing with RMS, which puts it in a category all its own really, is the low heat aspect of it. And so that is what makes this a little bit challenging sometimes, is that you really gotta get in there and warm it up with your fingers in order for it to get like spreadable on your skin. And once you do, it has a good amount of coverage, but it's not buildable at all. Like you put it on, that is a level of coverage. I've tried powdering it and putting more on top. It just doesn't build to cover a blemish, and it just doesn't hit the spot for me. I will wear it, but I can't wear it on a day where I have like a breakout or when I've picked or anything like that. Oddly enough, you guys, the Glossier, which I mean, God, I'm steadily working towards this. Oh, I need to get a new one. The shelf life on this is only 6 months. I need to get a new one. This is a strange product because you kind of have to apply it twice. This is so hard to see these swatches, but I actually, you guys, on the year, I prefer the Glossier because the Glossier is buildable. It does camouflage things a lot better. It does behave more like skin. It doesn't have as long of a wear time as RMS, but what good is wear time if it doesn't camouflage your zits? It's just so stiff that I tried applying it with a brush, I tried applying it with my fingers, I tried layering it up. There's just not a way that I have found to get the RMS Uncover Up to actually, yes, cover up. Whereas the Glossier, you can at least get it to build up. And I think that it does a beautiful job of brightening under the eyes without leaving any kind of crepiness or anything. And I only recommend using the Glossier with the powder. I would not use like a regular powder with it because it's gonna soak pretty much anything else up. But the Glossier is still the winner in this category, which is a very small category. And finally, guys, as far as like full coverage concealers go, you know, I kind of have to go with like what I used the most, what was the one that I could always count on. And you know, it's up against several. We have like the Bye Bye Under Eye, the Bye Bye Breakouts from It Cosmetics. And I mean, I think I've tried like several this year that I've ended up probably like pitching, throwing out, whatever. It sucks, but the Tarte Shape Tape is still the best in terms of being able to wipe this on your face, spread it out, get that like classic makeup coverage performance. It really does the trick. And this is like for covering blemishes, for brightening, for acting almost like a more intense version of a foundation. This is amazing. I never tried their actual Shape Tape foundation. There was just so much drama around that. I just backed away. But I still absolutely know that I can always count on this product. And I think that that's what we, at the end of the day, are spending our money on, is a product we know we can count on. I wore this on my wedding day. It really works well with almost all foundations that I've used. It has gotten crepey underneath my eyes before, so I mean, I do think that this is a better blemish coverer and like more of like a contour highlight kind of situation. If I'm going to go under my eyes, I'm still going to go with a brightening concealer. I would rather go less coverage, more brightness than more coverage and just risk the crepiness. But as far as like an old reliable, if I had to travel with it, you know, kind of thing, and I knew I was going to get like photographed or something like that, the Tarte Shape Tape, it's unmatched. I just hate being mainstream. It's not that I hate Tarte. I feel like that's just such like a stock answer. It's like everybody's favorite. All right, guys, one of the biggest phases that we had on my channel this year was me trying a lot of eyeshadow palettes. And I have so many. I mean, there are some that are sitting out, but I still have like this whole drawer full and like, I mean, more that are just sitting here. I've got a couple of high end, I've got a couple of low end, and then I've got like best of the year. And I think that you guys already know what my palette of the year is, because I think I've been saying it since I bought it. Anyway, let's start at the top here. So high end, goodbye. I'm doing that thing again where I just have like dominoes of makeup all over my desk. High end, I did buy 3 Natasha Denona palettes this year, which is just a terrifying thing to say out loud. But I bought the Gold palette, the Tropic palette, and the Safari palette. You guys, this palette is awesome. It's awesome. If you are a person in the market for some really gorgeous mattes that work so well on so many different skin tones, you have such a variety of warm and cool tones here. You have some really fun things to play with here. You've got kind of this spectrum of like pinks and lavendery, like, but warm purples. Because I can't do the cool tones, but the warm purples are so beautiful. I should say that it does lean a little bit more warm than anything else, even though we have some of these just incredible blues and greens. And I mean, just the craftsmanship of this palette, how you can punch them out in the back and put them into like a, you know, a salt palette or something like that. And I absolutely just live for every one of these shades. I don't feel like my money was wasted on any of these shades. Whereas, you know, the Tropic palette, I feel like, you know, Gusti and Limoncello were really disappointing. I feel like in the Gold palette, maybe we could have gone for fewer golds. I know, like, who am I to say something like that? Because it was obviously a Gold palette and I obviously spent my money on it, but we have like green golds and turquoise golds in there that I'm just never going to wear. Like, my favorite part of the Gold palette is actually like the turquoises and the teals. So I don't regret buying it, but if I'm talking like the thing that I spent the most money on in terms of eyeshadow and the thing that I found the most rewarding was the Safari palette. It has just turned out to be so versatile and I reach for it all the time. High end, I mean, it's high end, it's a high end price for the amount of product that you get, because we're not talking about a really adventurous palette here, but in terms of just usefulness, this is the Thrive Cosmetics Perfect Eye Palette. I gave one of these away earlier this year because it is just the ultimate supplement palette. It is, if you are in a palette that's not meant to be a companion palette, but it's really exciting to you, but you need to back yourself out. You need to give yourself some shadow. You need to give yourself some light, because honestly, that's what differentiates like a pulled together eye makeup look from one that just looks messy, is typically just kind of giving yourself some boundaries and some depth and some brightness. This is going to be the palette that you can always count on for that, because you have a very, very cool toned crease shade right here that is going to be able to put shadow in your crease with no shimmer on any look. You have this really gorgeous kind of like spectrum right here of warm shades that are also matte that are going to give, you could build, you know, this doesn't have to be a supplement palette. You can build an eye look out of this palette on its own. You also have Drama here if you choose to use it. This is a very, you know, deep black shade called Marley. And you can use this to do like a really beautiful, like dramatic blended, you pull the cat eye out really far and then just kind of blend it like Nessa Sunshine style. I love that. Or you can use just a damp pencil brush in this, or a flat brush, and do eyeliner with it. And it is, these are waterproof formulas. So they're really, really amazing high performance formulas. And then the proportion of these pans makes so much sense, because you have the perfect white that I go into all the time, because it's the perfect high pigment, high saturation, warm cream. So it's going to be a highlight shade on any skin tone. You can highlight your brow bone, you can just pull, you can get yourself out of trouble essentially with this shade. That shade is called Mattifying. And then, you know, just because we all need a really good universal champagne shade, this is probably one of the best universal champagne shades out there. The shade is called Winnie, and it is very, very wearable, like everyday wearable. It's not too deep, it's not too copper, it's not too silvery. You could even really use it as a highlight on some skin tones, like, you know, cheek highlight. But it is one of the most wearable champagne shades, and I just love the size of the pan on this. So, like I said, this is not an inexpensive product, but you really get what you pay for in usability. It's kind of like looking at your wardrobe from the standpoint of like cost per wear. Cost per wear on this is nothing, because you're going to use it all the time. All right, low end. So I want to give like a really good honorable mention to this. This is one of the most high performing drugstore palettes I have ever used, and I was sent this by Lauren at the Honest Beauty Review. Boy, Kackie. The Honest Beauty Review. We did a collab earlier this year where I sent her a bunch of Thrive products to try, and she sent me a bunch of Flower Beauty products to try, which is really funny because we spent the same amount of money, but I sent her 3 products and she sent me like 10 because of the price difference between those kinds of products. This is a very high performing palette, guys. This is the Shimmer and Shade eyeshadow palette in Golden Natural ES3. This is, you know, Drew Barrymore's line. And they went from just selling it at Walmart, I think they have it at Ulta now, they have it online. These are some of the most beautiful, wearable, creamy, I mean, just if you are looking for a really inexpensive, beautiful, like warm toned, gold toned, just it's one of those palettes that you kind of can't go wrong. The only thing that it doesn't really have is a lot of like matte lighter shades, and so you will have to kind of draw into like a matte cream to get the job done if you really need to. But especially for me, kind of as I back away from wearing a ton of eye makeup, I'm very skin these days. These shimmer shades, you can use like one. You can just like put it on your finger and you just kind of like, you know, dust it kind of up on your brow bone, on the outer corner, on the inner corner, and you've got a look in and of itself. And so you do end up with like a couple of semi-mattes down here. You end up with like, you know, like a camel matte and then a deep brown matte. This is, it does actually, this deep brown shifts almost a little bit blue in the pan, but it goes almost completely matte when you touch it. And I will say that like, she could have probably, you know, some of these feel repetitive. You know, they feel like they're the same color in a lot of ways, but for the price, this is one of, like, the actual formula is so gorgeous, and it is one of the palettes that I'm surprised how much I go into. So that was more like second place. I would say first place when it comes to, like, bang for your buck this year. I'm, like, losing my voice, you guys. Is the Royal Affair palette from BH Cosmetics. This is such a unique palette. This thing is so uncommon. I think that, you know, the way that we talked about it in my unpopular opinions beauty tag, we've just been beaten over the head with new palettes like every single day. Our inboxes are just flooded. And I stumbled on this on Ulta's website, you know, just looking for the little new stamp to kind of see what I could review. And it was $18, and it has some of the wildest shades in it that end up being so beautiful and so easy to work with. The formulas on these shades make a lot of really scary colors very usable. I came up with a lime green gradient eye when I did that video, and I loved it. It was beautiful. These blend beautifully. This color is ridiculous. I just barely touched that. It's like velvet chartreuse. It's awesome. The actual potential of these shades versus the amount of money that you're putting into it, it blows something like ColourPop away. And I think that this is a very good alternative if you are interested in the Subculture palette. I mentioned that in the video, but just the kind of these deep turquoise shades, the mattes that you get in here, some of the neutral shades, plus these, like the spectrum of each kind of color family. I think that was what I mentioned in the video, was that like, if you want to go brown, you got brown. You kind of got to play like, you know, Connect 4 to do it. But like you've got a lot of options when it comes to pinks. You've got a lot of options when it comes to greens. You have a lot of options when it comes to blues. Like they managed to make a choose your own adventure in a very concise palette that makes so much sense for $18, and all of the pigments perform gorgeously. I really can't say enough about this palette. It's so beautiful. I love it so very much. And finally, in the eyeshadow palette category, before I take a break, I need to drink some water, try and like recover because I'm just talking a lot. This is, honestly, if you've been watching my channel, surprise to exactly no one. This is palette of the year, you guys. Urban Decay Born to Run. Urban Decay has been cranking out so many useless palettes lately. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Naked Cherry was boring. All the stuff they're coming out with right now is just a regurgitation of what they've been doing over the last few years. That said, their formulas are gorgeous. I used this on my wedding day. Their formulas are so beautiful. I will say that like close second to this in terms of actual performance is the Volcano Goddess palette. I think that Becca just has an impeccable formula, but the shade range in that palette was just not as exciting as this. Oh my god. So this is built to travel. I learned that on Ali Blinds' channel. That was like what, why it's called Born to Run. And it looks very rock and roll when you look at it because you're like, dang, am I really gonna like wear a bunch of like crazy blue on my eyes, or am I going to do a bunch of like, you know, crazy fuchsia or something like that? I'm telling you guys, if you like take out some of the eye-popping shades in here, what you actually end up with, if I can cover that, is this unbelievable kind of warm neutrals palette. And some of these like Accelerate, Double Life, Punk, Ignite, and my favorite, Smog, they will blow your mind in terms of color payoff and blendability. This is like, their formula is the perfect center, to me, the Goldilocks of blendability and also pigmentation. And so you end up with these just very non-beginner shades in a very beginner-friendly formula. You also have, even though this is not like a pale white, you still end up with a very versatile highlight shade in Breakaway. You have, oddly, these look really similar. These are very, very different because you end up with a very like foiled gold and then a very just kind of like satiny, almost like warm coppery gold. And I love the choices that they made in here. We have 6 times 3 is 18 shades, but they still went with some that are very close to each other, which I like because there's just something about sometimes when you have this many shades and you kind of want to go this far in the spectrum, you're like, oh, we're gonna go blue, we're gonna go green, we're gonna go purple, we're gonna go, you know, sometimes you end up foregoing some of the shades that help you stay in the lines, like on the rails. And so you still want to have your basics, especially if this is Born to Run. You want to be able to travel with this palette and nothing else. You have this great spectrum of pale shades and golds. You also have this amazing black, and also if you want to like back away from black and you want to do a really nice deep shade on your crease, this Punk shade right here is completely matte and it's this really beautiful burgundy, and it doesn't do that wacky thing that so many palettes that I've come across do, where as soon as you get into the berry tones, they are the patchiest, they are the most punishing, unforgiving shades. I have come across so many disappointing berry tones this year, and as far as like the burgundies and the pinks in this palette, they really are unrivaled in terms of blendability and forgivingness. Oh, and the shade Shillstot. It's time for me to stop talking. Still Shot right here. This is a shade that I see in a lot of palettes lately. It's just kind of this coral pop, right? Everybody loves a coral pop. It's how I started doing my, what I called Rosé All Day eyeshadow look over the summer that I've loved so much. And I think that pink is really happening right now. I mean, you look at like the Hood of Nudes palette, you look at the, what's the new one from Too Faced that's like all jewel colored and stuff. We love pink right now, and I do love pink, but I am so happy that, you know, this kind of takes this corally pink shade, because there's not really any other pink in here, this corally pink shade, and it then gives you this intuitive pathway through Baja, where you end up with this really beautiful kind of like bright rust color that then intuitively goes towards Accelerate. That's going to give you this really, really gorgeous blendability. You can, just like anything else, but even more so with this palette, you can use these satins, you know, to actually get that texture from them, like build them up and get a really beautiful kind of like shimmer from them. But this was probably the first palette that I learned that you can use a really, really high quality like satin shimmer shade just as a blending medium. And so something like Accelerate, something like Smog ends up becoming just this sort of like velveteen mixing medium that makes for the most gorgeous gradient across your face. So yeah, I said I couldn't say enough about it, but I sure tried. I tried to say everything about it. This is one of the most like money well spent palettes that I have bought this year, and I love it so much. I think it's so much better than the Urban Decay stuff that came out this year. All right, I'm gonna take a break. So I might look different when I come back, but when I get back, we're going to talk highlighter, cheek, mascara, brow, and lip. I am back. I didn't do any of the things that I promised, but my friend came and picked up the painting that I just finished, so one fewer thing on my plate. So nice to get that done. Let's just hop back in and finish this thing out strong. So, the next thing I want to talk about is highlighters. I used to be anti-highlighter for the longest time, and then I started to find the ones that I loved. Started with, you know, the Becca highlighters. I did kind of go a little, like, swung wide for a while, and I just truly couldn't deal with this one, the Amrezi highlighter from Anastasia. This was just really not for me, but I did come across quite a few that I really, really liked this year. The top ones probably being, in terms of powder at least, these two, and actually this as well. These are probably the big three that I liked the most. So this is the Natasha Denona Super Glow. The Super Glow was the first Natasha Denona product that I ever tried. I'm wearing it right now. It is the perfect neutral. It has some silver, it has some gold, it has some pink, it has some like champagne things going on, and it is just so highlighty. It actually gives you a lit from within kind of highlighted look, and you can see, I mean, I have quite a bit of it on. It doesn't give you like that wet, wet, wet thing that's just like, I don't know, that just looks like Nikki tutorials to me. No offense, Nikki, but she knows she's got a look. The next is the Pyt Beauty. This is, oh, that's actually the cheek color. Is, yeah, the Upgrade Highlighter in the shade Backstage Pass. I love this because it reminds me a lot of a Becca highlighter, but somehow the particles are even finer. So, I mean, it's like, honestly, almost not worth swatching. Oh, you can see that. It's a really pretty neutral gold, this particular shade. It goes on so beautifully, and I can wear this with or without powder underneath because it's so lightweight. I would say that the Super Glow, it is still a little bit heavier. It doesn't go on as well on top of cream products. This does. And then oddly, you guys, I hated every other Flesh product that I tried. I really did. I didn't think any of them were worth the money, but this has proven to be one of my highlighters that I reach for the most. This is in the shade Certain. I really fell in love with Ballerina Pink, Baby Pink highlights this year, and this happens to be like one of the best ones that I found. It is so creamy, so velvety. One of the things that I think that I realized about my preference in highlights this year was that I really like all the particles to be the same size. I don't want to have glitter in my highlight because, you know, I did try the Diamond Bomb from Fenty. It has a place in, you know, in my routine, but it is not an everyday highlight, and it's definitely a noticeable texture on the skin. It's not impersonating natural skin. It really is just like a completely other category of products. So that one doesn't really like make the cut in terms of like mainstays, must-haves, things that I reached for tons. But the one that I feel like has become, in the shortest period of time, the one that I wear the most and the one that I think is the most universally flattering is actually this one in the Luscious Cosmetics Glow Remix Highlighter Palette, Honey Lust. This shade is the best of all of these. So you end up with the same kind of velvety texture that you get in the Flesh. You get the very similar shade to the No BS palette. So very similar shade, but I would say creamier. And it's also got that same like lit from within, like neutralness to it that you get from the Natasha Denona. I just think that that Honey Lust shade is so unbelievably beautiful. If they sell it in an individual pan, I would recommend buying it in an individual pan. This is a pretty inexpensive palette in and of itself for 4 highlighters, I do like these. I think Sweet Melody is also really, really pretty. It's a little too kind of like icy for me. Honey Lust is ridiculous. I put it on my eyes, I put it on my cheeks, I put it everywhere. It's awesome. Yeah, kind of like a dark horse that you wouldn't have expected, but that has been the highlighter that I've reached for the most. Like, I honestly want to like pry it out of here and put it in like a travel palette. Really quickly on cream highlights, I pretty much have only tried 3 this year, and well, actually 4. So you guys know I don't really like the Halo Scrub from Glossier. It was kind of never a contender, but I love the Kosas. I think that it's really beautiful. I think that the Josie Marins are okay, but the very best that I have found that I love so much that actually wears all day is the RMS. Like, you get this thing heated up just a little bit, and this is the Magic Luminizer is what this is called. You just get the most incredible highlight payoff, and it just wears all freaking day. The Kosas is just so creamy that it does disappear after a while. I honestly like recommend just, you know, using it to kind of mix with your foundation. It's more like that. It just adds kind of a dewier consistency, but it's so creamy that it doesn't have as much wear time. But the Magic Luminizer from RMS, once you get it heated up and you get it on your skin, then it kind of like settles onto your skin in a really nice way. Like, it melts onto your skin and then it stays put. All right, cheek products. Let's talk about it. I think that one of the biggest secrets that's not really a secret about how I do my makeup, whenever people are like, your skin looks incredible, you guys, it's because I use 5 cheek products. It is where I am the most extra. And so when we're talking about powder cheek products, when I do an actual powdered look like I'm wearing right now, I use the Too Faced Blushing Bronzer. This has been, I've already been through one of these this year. This one's already at pan, and I have one more sitting in my collection. Then I go in, yes you guys, still with the Milani Luminoso Baked Powder Blush. This is still such an unbelievably gorgeous finish on the skin. It adds this luminosity, but then I go in with a small brush, this one here from Sigma, and I use a matte bronzer at the very back right here and just around my hairline a little bit. This is the Sun Chaser from Thrive. This is my favorite matte bronzer. It's the creamiest, most agreeable, most forgiving, because matte products are not always forgiving. I like to build a base of a very nice like gradient of shimmer and then add my mattes right on top to just sort of like add a punch. So I add depth with my bronzer. And then the blush that I've been using lately has been this Sigma in Nymphea, and I just like it because it's like hella pink. I can accomplish that entire thing with the exception of the Thrive blush with this. So we already talked about this. I did it, it was in a promoted video, and so I think that sometimes that messaging kind of gets lost. People are just kind of like, she was paid to make this video, so she probably is going to say only nice things. I totally understand that. I want you guys to know on a completely unpaid basis here that this blush remix palette gets all of the job done. So this is my Luminoso right here. This shade right here, Radiant, boom. They are absolutely one and the same. The Too Faced Blushing Bronzer, while I do still really, really love this, I'm gonna keep using it. The comparison between it and Glisten in this palette, it's so similar. It's ridiculously similar. I think this is the best cheek product that I've owned this year, and that's easy to say because there are 6 products in this palette. So I do think that that's kind of unfair. I don't necessarily think that, you know, you need to have 6 cheek products, or 5 that I usually wear. I wear those 4 usually, and then I wear a highlight. So, you know, if you are looking for my level of glow, and if, you know, I always say if you're having a bad day, like, ask yourself, are you wearing enough blush? I always have to ask myself that. But you know, this does really get the job done very cost effectively, but if you already have kind of like pieces in your repertoire that you already like for certain portions of that, I also offer kind of my individuals. So yeah, I really think a lot of thought went into this. This is the kind of product I would put out. As passionate as I am about cheek products, this is something that like I feel like someone like me made this product, you know? As far as cream blushes, I'm gonna do a full lowdown on cream blushes at some point because I haven't tried enough to really know. I would say that the ones that really steal the show this year It's just because of shades, honestly. And it is the Glossier Cloud Paint in Storm. This is like the best shade of a product I've ever used. I'll show you. Just because I think that one of the bigger discoveries for me this year was that berry tones look really good on pale skin. I always thought that they were going to be kind of too deep for me, but when this shears out, it looks like a Nordic child who just took a lap around the fjords. And then the Ilia in the shade A Fine Romance is also very similar. Actually, they look pretty different. This looks a lot more rusty, bricky colored, and this looks a lot more like pinky berry. And so there is a difference here, and they also wear very differently. I find that the cloud paints, just like every other Glossier product, you have to put them on, wait 10 minutes, and then put them back on again. Whereas the Ilia has just like more wear time, but it's also a lot more expensive. But I do like those, and I liked the RMS. I don't really like these shades so much, but ooh, vanilla. Smells so good. The wear time. Wear time on RMS is just better. It's just better on a lot of these. It's just better than a lot of the products that I can compare it to in that category. Mascara, we'll make this quick. I did try a couple of mascaras this year. Nothing stands up to my Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions mascara. This also gets the award for my worst video of the year because I still get comments that are like, why didn't you put it on? The answer is I don't know. I have no idea. It was a terrible video, but it remains up because, it helps people find my channel, and because hopefully people still understand that this is a phenomenal product. And if you are unfamiliar with it, the reason that this it really just outshines everything else like out there is because it's such a volumizing mascara that has no removal angst. There's no friction about the removal. You just get in the it stays all the time. I wore it, on my wedding day and stuff. But when you get in the shower, you take the warm water just kind of like loosens it, and then you can just take it, and it never reconstitutes into a liquid product again. It doesn't get on your face, so you never have to rub your eyes. Also, it's got orchid stem cell in it. It actually makes your eyelashes better, longer, thicker over time. But the main thing to me about this is that I don't have to rub my eyes. Rubbing your eyes is bad. And it really builds a lot of really gorgeous volume, and it stays all day. It acts like a waterproof mascara, but the removal is so easy. You don't need any kind of eye makeup remover product. Brows! Okay, so 2 brow products that I use all the time, and you guys often ask me for like a brow routine, which I think is kind of funny because my brows I'm probably the quickest brow person on YouTube because I actually have eyebrows, and so all I do is just kind of scribble them in with a pencil and then use some mousse. There's no like creativity or drawing involved. I just fill them in. But I fill them in. I've actually tried the Wander Beauty one, which was good. I've tried the Luscious Cosmetics one, which was good. I've really never met a brow product that I like truly hated. But I truly love this. This is just a very fine tip. This is the Infinity Waterproof Eyebrow Liner in Audrey from Thrive Cosmetics. Very tiny, also waterproof, very good color. It is like the perfect neutral brown. I think that, for me, I have light hair and dark eyebrows, and I like to embrace that. The color of this is neutral enough that it's believable. It's not so warm that it looks like, what does she have on her face? But it's not so cool toned that my eyebrows look gray instead of brown. I think that when you get into the blondes of it all, you do have to kind of err on the side of going a little bit more like gray, a little bit too cool. And so I really appreciate that this is like a true brown. And I think that that's what really set it apart from like the Wander Beauty for me, was just that I liked this shade better. And I've dropped this thing half a dozen times, and it hasn't broken up in there, which is really nice too, because a lot of them just dry out. That one doesn't dry out. Brow Mousse. No secrets here, guys. You know that I swear by Glossier Boy Brow. However, coming soon to a Thrive internet near you, this is called Instant Brow Fix. And it's not out yet, but I went on the trip with Thrive and they gave it to me, and I'm so excited. It comes in the same shades that all the eyebrow liners do, so it is in the same shade called Audrey, that same neutral brown, and it's actually got like a more like pointed brush on it, which I think is pretty cool. It grabs a lot of product, so you really can, like, a little goes a long way with this. I'm wearing it right now. I like it. It behaves very similarly to the Boy Brow, but A, I only need 1 coat, which I usually use 2 of the Boy Brow, and B, this tints your brows over time. Not that necessarily everyone needs that, but like my mother will love that. those of you out there who are just like, man, you know, filling in my brows is one thing if I could see them in the first place. A brow product that's going to gradually tint your brows over time. That is pretty cool. So this bad boy, I'm honestly not even sure I'm allowed to talk about it yet. I'll probably have to reach out to them and make sure. But I'm really excited about this. I've been using it the past few days, and it just gives this like fine, organized, moussey volume. I don't know. It's very pretty, and I also love that it comes in that same super neutral brown. All right, let's talk about lips. We will move from matte to glossy here. So matte, it's really no secret, guys. This is my favorite matte lipstick. It's really the only matte lipstick that I will wear, and this is the headliner lipstick from Thrive in the shade Stephanie, and it is because it is the only true beige I have ever found. Everything leans either orange or pink. This is true beige. It looks so gorgeous on. You wear this with like a brown lip liner and you blend it, it makes your lips look unbelievable. Like, you just instantly look so chic and pulled together. It's just such a current high fashion look. It's so beautiful, so easy to wear. I remember it came with my first order that I did from Thrive, where I was just like, gosh dang it, you guys, fine, I'm gonna go ahead and fork the cash out, and I'm gonna go buy a bunch of stuff from Thrive, and I'm gonna hate all of it, okay? And then you guys will be happy. And so I got all this stuff in the mail, like so much stuff. Like, I spent so much money, and I got this lipstick in the mail, and I pulled it out in my bathroom, and I put it on my lips, and I went, God damn it, that's gorgeous. I was like so mad, because I wanted so badly for, and I don't know what part of me, I think that I just wanted something that was like this, that seemed too good to be true, to actually be too good to be true. But I should have known when I used the mascara that, like, you know, everything has that level of care in it. And so this really is like one of the most unique shades, and like, it's one of those things where when I show it to people, my mom and I went on like a drugstore hunt to try and dupe this lipstick. I found a lot of really pretty lipsticks, but nothing matches this shade and this formula. And I mean, that comes up against, I've tried so many things this year. I've tried like a lot of, God, I've got, you know, the Kosas, I've got Wander Beauty, I've got, you know, ColourPop, I've got Luscious, I've got Makeup Geek, like all these different like peachy shades that I've tried this year, and none of them found their way into my like long-term repertoire. Like, that's the Makeup Geek, like peachy nude. It is so peach I could die. Barely Blooming lipstick from Sigma. Jesus, oh my God, it's so pink I could die. Tiptoe from ColourPop. It's like mauve lavender purple, which is so beautiful on some people, but I need true neutral. And so, yeah, of all of the nudes that I tried, the Stephanie is really it. And honestly, I don't wear like a lot of color on my lips, and so nude is really that's the playground that we're in here. All right, so moving into like lip glosses. The gloss to win them all is the Glossier. I was honestly such a cynic about this. I don't really know why I get things stuck in my head about certain things. I'm just like, I don't need a stupid clear lip gloss. That's so dumb. Then my friend Catherine, who's like a minimalist, like bought it, and she was like, this is the best lip gloss I've ever used. And I bought it, and I was like, this is the best lip gloss I've ever used. And then I watched Samantha Ravindal, and she was like, this is the best lip gloss I've ever used. And I was like, ah, because she didn't like a lot of the Glossier stuff. I am so diehard for Glossier, but the gloss even knocked my socks off in comparison to my expectations. It's so beautiful. Let's put some on right now. It's just ultimate like glass finish. It just makes your lips look so healthy, and it's just clear, you know? It's universal. The other one that I feel like deserves an honorable mention is the Diamond Bomb. This is just different. I feel like somebody said, like, you know what, we're going to be shameless, we're gonna go after the 90s, and Fenty, you know, Fenty put out this like whole diamond collection. This Diamond Bomb is redonkulous. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's too icy, it's too silver. I put this on, and it is so wearable. I think that it's gorgeous. I think that it adds this like, just kind of like fun candy glitter kind of snow bunny thing to your lips, and I'm okay with that when I'm wearing just a very skin look. Like, if I'm just very highlighted, very bright, very dewy, and I throw that on my lips, it photographs beautifully, it's very comfortable, it has a little bit of a plumping quality to it, but there's no burn, there's no tingle, and smells really nice. It smells kind of fruity. And if we're talking about a balm, it's going to be the GlossierBalm.com. I don't have one up here with me, but I pretty much always have one by me. And I actually, my favorite, yeah, I don't have one. My favorite is the CoconutBalm.com. I just find it to be like the most OG scent. I love it. It's very warm. It's very comforting. It was the first one that they ever sent me, and it's just always been my favorite. But you notice what I'm holding in my hand right now. This is winner of winners. This is like winner of the year in its own category completely, and this is the Glossier Generation G. These, I did 2 videos on them because they are that good. I hated the original Glossier Generation G. These, my hand is getting worn out from swatching. I'm sorry. These have this ultimate blotted lip, like what they were going for to begin with. The packaging is sturdier, the formula is less dry, and it goes on like a watercolor coating of color rather than you having to blot it or it going into like your lip lines or anything like that. The original wasn't particularly highly pigmented, but it was still hard to work with. It was patchy. These are not patchy. They build really beautifully, and I am not a lip color girl, and I can wear every single one of these shades. That was probably the thing that I got, like, I don't know, I think I got the most comments on that. I don't have the actual data, but maybe the compliment that I took the most to heart on those videos was that they're like, huh, well, easy for you, all the colors look good on you. And I was like, all the colors look good on everybody, okay, because I can't wear lip color. So the fact that these all looked good on me means that these are actually universally flattering shades, and it's because they're such a gorgeous wash of color. They're so beautiful. You can wear them on their own, and they're very, very comfortable, but I actually like to put a gloss on top. I just like to put a gloss on top because I think it looks really pretty, and the older I get, the more plumping my lips need, okay? So, we've already talked a little bit about brushes. I just kind of want to touch on this for a second because I've had a couple of like faves that have really, like, as I feel like improved my skills over the course of the year, because I really feel like I've grown a lot, especially my eyeshadow skills. Feel so much more capable than I did in the beginning of the year, that I do want to kind of like mention a few of my favorites, but I also have some caveats and some kind of warnings. Brushes of the year. So if we're talking about a foundation brush, nothing to me beats this IT Brushes for Ulta. The foundation brush, the perfect complexion brush, I think is what it's called, full coverage complexion brush. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, guys. I have a Sigma code. Literally no one's ever used it because Sigma is so played out at this point. I do like having a discount for myself on Sigma brushes because I do like Sigma brushes. However, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but their powder brushes are beautiful. I do not recommend their liquid brushes, like their concealer, foundation, anything that you're going to be putting a cream or a liquid on with, because they mildew, guys. The brushes get moldy, and they get moldy really fast. I don't know why. You guys, there's probably some science about this. If you know, let me know down below. But like, there are plenty of brushes that I own that I don't religiously clean immediately, and even if you do religiously clean them, I don't put them in one of those freaky, spinny drying things. Like, you shouldn't have to do that, in my opinion. I've thrown out a lot of Sigma brushes this year because they've mildewed. Like, very, very, evidently, and even that little pyramid brush that I was loving, the 4D Kabuki that I was using for my concealer, I loved that brush, but it mildewed, immediately, and so I'm not going to put that on my skin, and I'm not going to recommend it. But I do really like some of their eyeshadow brushes. I would say that my 2 favorites are the E55, which is like the best kind of stubby patting powder on your lid kind of. It's almost like, as good as using your finger to spread something on your lid. This thing is really, really good. And then I also love the Sigma Tapered Blending E40. This is just one of those really loose ones, that's just really good for diffusing product, and you can just kind of do it mindlessly. If you've got a light color or something, you just want to put one shade on your eyes, this is really, really good. One of my favorite brushes, look, so these are pretty much the same shape, just different sizes. This is a Sigma. This is the Thrive Eyeliner Smudge brush. This is the best brush for places you can't get your little pinky finger into, or lower lash line, or highlighting your brow bone, or getting right in here. This is basically designed to smudge your eyeliner. I don't really smudge, I don't even really wear eyeliner. This is so good for under the eyes. You dampen this, you can stick it in a foiled shade or anything. It puts the product right where you want it and nowhere else, and it is indispensable in my collection. The other two, and honestly, this is like, I'm kind of like counting upwards here. These are my favorite eyeshadow brushes that I own. This is the Real Techniques 203. It's just the perfect soft blending brush for your crease and for kind of like above. This is the best crease brush I have ever used. This is the Defined Crease Brush from Makeup Geek. It's $8.50. It is absolutely out of this world. It's really hard to kind of see, but it actually has a soft kind of domed point to the top of it when you first buy it, and it still kind of like obeys that. It is like a good bit longer in the middle than it is out here. There's like a really strong taper, and what that does is when you kind of take that in your crease and you push up with it, you can use it like a pencil like this and really like, you know, build a lot of depth in one spot really easily. But if you kind of take this and you push it, it blends everything. It just completely diffuses product. It is one of the most useful brushes I've ever owned, and I totally bought it on a lark. Like, I bought it because I was buying some other stuff from them. I actually also bought, oh no, this is actually the Sigma one. This is the small tapered blending brush. So I thought these were going to be really similar when I bought this one, and this one doesn't really do the trick. This is indispensable in anyone's collection. If you want to be pretty good at putting on eyeshadow and actually getting color where you want it, you need something that's at least this precise, and this is such a forgiving, precise brush. It's not going to be like a pencil brush where you draw a line and then you're like, well, now what do I do? It actually diffuses the product so beautifully, gives you tons of control, and like I said, it's $8.50. Rounding it out, everybody needs one of these, and I do really like the Thrive one. This is just a fine eyeliner brush, and I use this with the Sigma liquid liner. I think it works really beautifully. I also have, I mean, I'm not gonna say that like I've mastered this thing, but it's pretty stinking cool. This is the Sigma bent liner brush, the B12, and it actually does a pretty good job. I've actually seen like guys on, or ladies on RuPaul's Drag Race use this for their liner too. It's just, if this is your preference, is to be able to kind of like get away from yourself and not have your hand up in your eye, this thing is really cool. And then finally, guys, the only highlighter brush that is worth a mention. It is basically a crease brush that someone has taken and just, honey, I blew up the kids. It is the perfect kind of looseness. Again, totally vegan, these brushes, even though they look like animal hair. And it does such a freaking incredible job of diffusing highlight on the cheeks. It's like a pleasure to use. That's how a brush should feel. And then I would be remiss not to mention this. This is kind of brush of the year. This is my favorite powder brush I've ever used. This is made to date. It's flawless as your makeup. This is the just all over powder brush. I think she's going to be kind of running with this feeling and doing some more that are this shape but different sizes. So stay tuned for that. This is completely worth every penny. My favorite videos that I did this year, probably the vlog where Mike and I were hunting a mouse. You guys, we have a serious situation on our hands right now. It's Sunday. I would not even typically be vlogging right now. Mike ran in while I was editing and he goes, "Hey, Kackie." And I was like, what? He's like, "I think Bruce has killed an animal." And I was like, okay. And I thought we were going up the stairs together. No. So I walk up the stairs to see this 8 pounds of fury carrying a mouse in his mouth. And now it's loose. And my vlogs in general, I'm just really glad that, you know, we were able to kind of integrate that into my channel in a way that you guys weren't like, "Oh my god, buzz off with your vlogs, Kackie. Like, this is so annoying. Put this on a different channel." You know, I'm glad that we were able to kind of integrate those and you guys appreciated them. I also have really enjoyed doing anti-hauls this year. I love an anti-haul because I am moving in more of a minimalist direction. So anti-hauls are really great for me to kind of like talk to you guys about things that I am considering. I want you guys to know that like I still have my eyes and ears to the ground and like I know what's going on, but that like here are the things that I've considered, I've decided to pass on, and here's why. And I do think that's a valuable exercise so that we all kind of can discuss them. Because, you know, there have been times where I've anti-hauled things and then down the road I've decided to try them. Like Fenty was one of those things. And so, you know, it's just a valuable conversation starter, and I'm going to continue doing more anti-hauls in 2019. Most underwhelming, like biggest differential between expectation and reality was Melt Cosmetics. I am so sorry. I'm sorry, Abby Williamson. She loves Melt Cosmetics. She does really, really beautiful eye looks with them. So I've got the 27 palette, and I've got the Gemini palette. Here's why I feel this way about them. Oh my god, this thing's like falling out of the pan. Stop! Look pretty cool. They're pretty. They're outrageously expensive. They don't have the greatest packaging. Everything's kind of falling out. But they don't have either one of these any dimension. So you get some really cool, pretty shades here. And God, I overhyped the Gemini palette, you guys. I'm like honestly sorry to myself for overhyping this so much because these greens are really pretty and everything. And you do get a black, but there's nothing light in here. There's no way to brighten either of these palettes. You just don't get a complete look. I don't like the formula. They blend and blend and blend and blend and blend. I prefer a stickier formula. That's just my personal preference. I know you guys are gonna comment and be like, well, if you used a primer, I've used a primer. Oh, well, don't say your primer. Look, it shouldn't be my job to make something that costs this much money to make it work. Like to have to make it work. Like I will make an e.l.f. palette work. I'll take a $10 palette and I'm gonna make it work. And honestly, I've been absolutely blown away by e.l.f. this year. I shouldn't even use them as an example because they really, really did a great job with so many of the things that I tried this year. These, for the price, are so frustrating and they are just not, like they don't give you the looks that you think that you would get from them. So I would say that Melt Cosmetics, these are my biggest like actual regrets of the year, was overhyping these and spending the money on them. Just a little roundup, guys. Like I said, we had 214 videos this year. I developed my Thrive partnership this year, which has just been such a game changer for my channel. I got fired this year, which allowed me to devote all of my time, at least over the past 5 months or so, to my channel. I reclaimed my meditation practice this year, which has been so amazing for all of you guys too, because we've actually started talking about these kinds of things. I've been really scared, and I still am scared, I'm gonna be honest, to like put more meditation videos out because I'm scared everybody's gonna unsubscribe. They're gonna be like, Kackie, we're here for the makeup. What in the hell are you doing? I want to integrate more mindfulness back into my channel. I did the 12 days of mindfulness this time last year. Went over like a lead balloon. People were not interested. That's fine. I had 1,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like that data doesn't mean anything. I do want to try again. I'm getting those kinds of requests from you guys. What I think I'm gonna do is like first of the year, we're just gonna do a mindfulness week or like a meditation week where I do a video that's my like self-help journey and like the books that I read and everything like that and how I came to be where I am. An entire video on meditation, and then I want to do an entire Q&A because I just can't fit it all into one video, she says as she posts an hour-long video. You guys, not only did we hit 5,000 subscribers this year, we hit 10,000 subscribers this year. I started out this year with a little over 1,000, and we are at over 10,000 now, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Let's go 10x next year too. What do you say? 100,000 by 2020. I would love that. And finally, guys, I really can't, you know, name my accomplishments this year without saying, the cloud has lifted, we did it, I got married. We're done. I get to just be married now. I've always been the kind of person who wanted to be married, not someone who wanted to get married. And getting married was one of the most stressful, most not me things that I have ever done. And I'm so glad to say that it's behind me. So 2019 will hold my honeymoon and lovely building of my life, continuing to build my life with my lovely husband, but no more wedding planning and no more money sunk into it. So very optimistic about 2019, you guys. I hope that you are too. I am going to take Christmas week off. I hope that's okay. I hope you all spend some lovely time with your families. I am not even going to bring my computer home with me. I am going back to Florida and we are going to have a lovely time. I'm going to, you know, start filming again when I get back, but I will see you guys basically like December 31st, I think is the next Monday that is after Christmas, and that's when we'll start kind of the meditation week. And so I will have those videos ready for you guys, but this will be the last video before Christmas. So Thank you guys for being part of my channel this year. I cannot freaking believe how much we've accomplished. You guys are so incredible. I will also be back with a 10,000 subscriber giveaway in the new year, so keep an eye out for that. I just haven't gotten all my thoughts collected on that yet. Just everything just kind of stacks up towards the end of the year. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this fun roundup. I cannot believe how many products I own, and I've already given away and thrown away so many. It's crazy. I'm going to go and stop talking because I have been talking for a really long time. You can hear it in my voice. I'm still getting well from my trip with Thrive, so I mean, this is kind of a lot. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you. Thank you for being a part of my channel. Did I mention I love you? Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Merry Christmas! Happy holidays! Have fun with your families. Bye.